All right, hello class. Today we'll be covering chapter 7, cognitive biases and decision making. So the question at hand is give a personal example of each of the four key cognitive biases. The first one being confirmation bias. For this one, kind of the only example or personal example that I could think of was when I went into the military. My mom was an example of this, so she pretty much thought, that as soon as you go into the army or whatnot, you're gonna die or just get shot, or she just thinks the worst being a mother. Um, and evidently, like I would present her like with the information, and my recruiter would tell her, like it's not gonna be like that, and like give realistic, examples of what could actually happen. But um, I feel like that's an example of confirmation bias, just because she couldn't accept the fact of me leaving, even though she had a like she was told what was gonna happen and whatnot. Um, but yeah, that's what I thought for that one. The next one being representative bias. Um, for this one, really the only one I could think of is kind of more of like a stereotype uh kind of example. So stereotyping, obviously, it's when you stereotype a certain group or ethnicity, and kind of for this one, it's kind of I'd say it's more based on your ethnic background. So like me being a Hispanic male, you kind of get stereotyped as being what, like a landscaper, hard worker, whatnot, whatever they say on the news. So for that, I feel like that's an example of representative bias, just because you're being stereotyped based off of a few couple of people who are actually that actually fit along the stereotypes, but it's not the case for everyone. The next one is illusion control. So for this one, I could really only think of an example. When I was in the army, I would run PT in the morning sometimes. So usually, like the sergeants, we would run our workouts in the morning, and sometimes we'd have our soldiers do like their own workouts, and they would have to run the whole workout. So it's like an hour and a half. Um, and they would think it's so simple and easy, but it's really not, because once you get up there, you actually have to perform all the actual workouts, and demonstrate, and then kind of just get into the rhythm of creating the workout. So once they got out there, they could actually see it's not all that easy. So I feel like that's a good example of illusion control. And then the last one being escalating commitment. So the only example I really had for this one was I have an actual a close friend who started a clothing brand, and he dropped like a couple shirts and whatnot. But obviously the brand didn't like take off or do as well as he expected. But he kept putting on his own money in, or investing his own money into the brand still. So I feel like that's an example of escalating commitment, because although the brand didn't do as well, he still kept putting his money in it, and we would try to convince him, or try to reason with him to try to figure out something else, but he still committed all the way to that. So I feel like that's a good example of escalating commitment. But yeah, that's all I really had. Thank you for your time.